Good morning. Thank you for joining me live. We can talk about budgeting. I know that's probably not the most exciting topic for a lot of people, um, you, but hopefully you've got your numbers with you and you've set aside a little bit of time and we can walk through this. Um, I know that budgeting is difficult, and you're totally normal if that's if that's the situation you're in. Most people don't love it that much, but I'm going to try to help you uh, have the right tools and see a process that we've created that hopefully makes it easier for you. Hopefully, by the end of this, you're a little calmer, um, a little more confident in your abilities, because I believe that we really aren't taught budgeting very well. Um, so, part of that is the systems that we're taught. They just don't work very well for most people. So if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. You're most people, and that's all right. Our system is a little bit different. We have simplified budgeting to what I believe is the simplest and easiest it can possibly get. So we don't care about all the extra stuff. We're just trying to make sure that you don't spend more than you have. That's the only goal. So we're going to walk through the app that we've made, and I'm going to show you how everything works. And you can follow along. If you've got questions, type them in the chat. I think you have to be on like a desktop to be able to use the chat. It should be right over on the side. So if you have questions, just put them in there. You can interrupt me and I'll answer whatever you need. But yeah, let's jump into this. So we have the app here. When you first get to it, you're not going to have a login yet, an email and a password. So you can click the little Apple icon or the Google icon and it'll log you in through Apple or Google. But if you're going to be sharing this with someone, like for me and my wife, we share the same budget. If you're going to be doing that, you probably want an email and a password. It's just easier to share it with the other person because you're going to use the same email and password to log in. So let me click create an account all the way down on the bottom here. And I'm going to type in just a random email here, make up a really bad password. Don't use this as your password. And then it'll give you a confirmation number. There we go. Okay. So, like it says right here, this app is designed specifically for the Happy Giraffe budgeting system. So that's a system that we created. Again, I think it's the simplest you can possibly get for budgeting. So if you don't love numbers, if you don't love budgeting, if it hasn't been a friendly thing for you in your life, that's okay. I'm hoping this makes it a lot easier. First up here, you can select your currency. We have people in a lot of different countries that use this. So there's some options there. And someone just made a comment this morning that they wanted to add in another one. So I'll figure out how to do that. I am not an app developer. we contracted this out to be able to make this whole app. So I don't know how to make changes very well. The spreadsheet we also have a spreadsheet that does all of this. It doesn't do the tracking side. It just helps you create your budget. The spreadsheet one, I can do all the editing. Like if you've got questions on that, I can make any changes we need. But for the app, I'm not a programmer, coder, so it takes a little longer for me to get to the developers and ask them. So anyway, the point is, this screen, lots of currency options. Pick which one you want. It doesn't actually like convert your currency or anything. So if you just select dollar, whatever it is, it's not like changing the numbers. The app only cares about the numbers themselves. It doesn't care what currency it is. So very first here, you're going to be entering your available money. So what you have available right now to like pay rent or something like that. If you have multiple bank accounts, just combine them all into one. It's just one number. I'm going to use an example here of like a family of 4 in Utah. I just asked for like what a typical budget might look like for that. So we'll type in those numbers and see what happens. So we're going to start out here. Available money. Let's see, they have $2,700 in their bank account right now, which is good because it's the end of the month and they're about to have a mortgage payment due here. So once you have how much money you have available to spend, now you're going to add in your income sources. For your income sources, you're going to want to guess low. If it isn't like a consistent number, guess on the low side, because then if you do get a higher amount, it's a good surprise for your budget and it's a lot easier to deal with. So let me add in, just click the little plus sign here. I'm going to add in paycheck. Let's see what this, I think I had them making $3,200 every other week. And then, so there's lots of frequency options here: weekly, every other week, 1st and the 15th, monthly, yearly, lots of options. So hopefully one of those fits you. And then you click on the start date. And the next time they get paid is February 6th. So on Friday, that's when they're going to get paid next. And you can put in an end date. That is optional. Hopefully for income, you don't have an end date on there, because that would be bad. There's also a little remind me button. That is just, it'll pop up on your phone just to say, hey, this is happening today, just to help you remember that it's happening. So I'm going to leave that on. Click save. Okay, they've got one paycheck for $3,200. I'm going to add one more. Let's see. We're going to say this family has an Etsy shop, and they're hoping, kind of on the low end again, just because this is income. So they're hoping 400 is kind of the low end of what they're hoping it makes monthly, and we're going to leave that at the end of the month, which is today. So they've got a regular paycheck, which is good. They've got an Etsy shop, doing a little side hustle. They're low end, $400. That's what they're hoping to make. So we're going to base our budget on that. Let's see, fixed expenses. So this is where you're going to add your bills, not like groceries or all those details, or just the bills, things that you get a bill for in the mail. These are usually, you have these set up like to auto pay just because they're so regular. So I'm going to say this family has a mortgage and it's $2,100 a month. Nope, not 21,000. Go with monthly. Next due date is tomorrow, so you can swipe forward. Say that's happening tomorrow. And there's not an end date for that one. Not in any meaningful time. I mean, probably 30 years from now it ends, but this whole system only looks forward 2 years, so that's all you need to worry about. Let's see, so they got a mortgage. Utilities. So utilities is always a hard one because it really isn't consistent month over month. But for me, at least, the gas bill and the electric bill kind of go opposite of each other. So when one gets higher, the other one gets lower, just based on the time of year. So I'm gonna say there's about $300 for this family for both of those, but you can't put two things into one bill on this. So I'm just gonna divide it out and say that we're gonna do gas here. And I'm going to say $150 for each of them. That is monthly. And that one's actually happening today because I want to show you how we handle that when the amount is a little bit different. So we've got gas for $150 and let's add electric. Electric $150 monthly and starting today. Okay, let's see, we'll also add a minivan payment for them because they're in Utah, so of course they have a minivan. I've had a minivan for a long time. They're great cars. I love them. See, that is happening monthly. And it's going to be next month on the 10th. Then let's add in a cell phone too, just one more so that we've got some bills that most people are going to have. Let's see, they're going to do probably $200 monthly for that. And we're going to put that out next month on the 12th, just so there's a little variety so you can see what that looks like when this is all planned out for the next 2 years. Okay. So we've got your income, fixed expenses, the bills. This section here is probably going to be the hardest part for you, but any budget is going to have you do this. You're just going to have to go back like through your bank account and look at what hits your bank account every month or every 6 months. You can put in things that are yearly. Put them all in here because it's helpful because we're going to forecast this all out for the next 2 years, and that's going to be the basis for your budget. So yeah, get in all the different bills that you can find. Again, this is probably going to take the most time, but that's okay. That's, like I said, every budget's going to have you do this. The nice thing is that with our system, you're only going to have to do this one time. Unless any of these change, you really don't have to come back and do this again. Because like I said, we're forecasting this out for the next 2 years, and most of these bills stay they're about the same every month. So it's not hard to figure out. One of the things you're probably asking though is, what do I do if it's a little bit different? So just like with gas and electric, I put in 150. Obviously they're not going to be exactly 150 every time. So we're going to handle that with a little bit of a buffer that I'm going to show you in a second here. So custom boxes. So that's something unique to our app. It's kind of like a little envelope, a little savings box. Just for you to save up for things. So we're going to say that this family is trying to save up to go to Disney. So they're going to have a little separate box just to put money into, set it aside. So when you create it, you name it, and then you fill it. So the fill button right here, and we're going to say they're putting $200 a month into this, starting tomorrow. Yep. Okay. So this is just good if you have, like I said, things that are you're saving up for, things that you want separate from your budget. It just helps to be able to put that in a little separate spot and deal with that differently. Then we have the buffer here that I talked about earlier. So when things don't go exactly as you planned, because they won't, you're going to use this little buffer to help you deal with whether it's over or under. So I'll show you how that works in just a little bit. For right now, I'm just going to leave the $100 buffer amount in there. You can change that if you want to. And then Happy Money. So this is a big jump. I know probably every other budget you've ever done, you probably put your bank balance in, you probably put your income and your bills. Suddenly we've got a Happy Money screen. So what's happening is the app is figuring out all of the timing and all the amounts. It's forecasting everything for the next 2 years. And it's helping you figure out what your weekly allowance can be. So right now it's saying the goal here is to get that over under number. So down on the left, the over under, it says 952.36. The goal is to get that as close to zero as you can. So I'm just going to type in 952 and see what it tells me. So I'm trying to get that as close to zero as I can, but I don't want these other boxes to go negative. So this is a pretty common thing for, especially if you're barely starting out with a new budget. And I think as you saw, this family only has, you can go back here. I think I only put $2,700 in their bank account, and they've got a mortgage payment due tomorrow for $2,100. So they don't have a ton of money available right now. And that's just because of all the past stuff. They've just been overspending. But the nice part is that you can see that they do have enough money. Like, they make enough money. They've just been overspending in the past. So they have enough to be able to spend $952 a week. They just don't have enough right now, because if they tried to do that, they're going to go negative a bunch of times, which means they won't have the money available to pay the bills when they need it. So if they're trying to spend $952 a week, which is covering all of your other things, like your groceries, your clothing, eating out, all of that. So we didn't make categories for all of those. So we're putting all of that, we're trying to simplify this and put it all into one weekly allowance. And when you try to do that, for this family, it doesn't fit because they just don't have the money available when they need it. So the goal is to get, like I said, over and under, closest to zero without going under, but also don't let the other ones go negative. So there's a whole graph to this, and I'll show you that in a second. But right, to simplify this, all you need is these three numbers. As long as they're green and the over and under is as close to zero as you can get, then that's all you need to worry about. Then you did it great. So let's bring this down. You can use the little slider if you want to. Let's see, what, 343? No, so yeah, I'm still super low here. Let's try 3. Can I get it to 300? Using the slider is hard to get it to an exact number. Oh, I was so close. I'll just type it in. Okay, so we're going $300, and that gets my bank account down to $14 at one point. So it's probably a little discouraging at first. This is okay. You do make enough money in this example, because you could have $950 a week, which is plenty. It's actually too high because I didn't put in all of their expenses, all of their bills. I just didn't want to wait and have you watch putting in every single bill. So the family makes enough money. They just don't have enough right now. So we're going to lower it down to $300 because that's what works for right now. But we're going to come back in and redo the budget in a little bit because they're not going to want to stay at this level for a long time. I forgot about the refill day here. So you can have your weekly allowance. You can have that on any day of the week. I'm going to leave it on Monday just because that's easy. But any day of the week you can have that happen. So $300, the family is way underspending, but it's because they just don't have the money when they need it. So if I hit complete here, then you can see at the very top here, I'm supposed to get $300 a week starting Monday. Today is Saturday, so I need to be able to live until Monday. So the app is going to give me $85.71. It's just like a prorated number, just divided by 7, and how many days it takes until Monday. So the app is going to give me $85 until, just to get me through to Monday. Then I'll get my $300 every week. It gave me a little part of my graph here, but if you click more details, it'll give you the whole 2 years. So here you can see I've got my Etsy shop happening, gas, electric, fixed buffer, $100. Then my prorate, my $85.71. So that's happening this month. Then you can click on the next month, and you can see I'm going to have to pay my mortgage payment. I'm going to get down to $514. My money that I'm going to save for Disney, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get my happy money, my full $300. That's going to happen on the 2nd. And I'm going to get my paycheck. Things are going to look better. And overall, you can scroll all the way forward here, and you can see that this graph is going way up, which is not what we want to happen. We want it to be a little more even. But we have to do that for now, just because they don't have enough money to handle their full, the full allowance. Just the timing of the money isn't going to work out right. So you can see that it does go up, so that's good. So they do make enough. Just right now, they're going to have to tighten down to $300 a week. Hopefully by the end of February, it looks like they've got $5,000 looking like that in their account. And then they've got to pay the mortgage. So probably for this family, I would go to, because so many of their bills are on the 1st, and then they get their paycheck on the 6th there, I would probably come back in on March 6th after living on this smaller budget for a little while. I'd probably go back in on March 6th and be like, okay, now that we've got our paycheck, now that we've got our big bills paid, we've been living on a smaller amount for a little while now. What can we do? How can we fix this? Because I know we're making enough. I know we make enough to spend $950 a month right now. We just can't do it because of the timing of everything. So that's what I would suggest for this family. Come back in March 6th when you get that paycheck and redo your budget and give yourself a lot more money to deal with. It'll be a lot more comfortable after that. So The first time through, you're going to get these little pop-ups here to just help you see how to use the app. You can see that you click the plus button. That's how you add in your money. So up to this point, we created our budget. We figured out what it's going to be. It's got all the timing of everything in there. And I did $300 a week for our family to spend on anything we want. And now it's going to help you live that budget. So this is where you're going to like add in, like when you go to Walmart or eating out or whatever it is. There's also a calendar side. I'll show you how to use that. Oh, that one's the calendar. This one was the different boxes. So we're going to have everyone gets a fixed box. That's where that buffer goes into. I'll show you how to use that. And then this family is going to have Disney instead of savings. There's the calendar, and then there's a settings screen where you can see lots of different things in there and make some changes. So there is a little bit of a game to this as well. So every day that you check into the app, you get a leaf, and your tree, it shows up on your little tree. And then if you stay within your budget for a week, then you get 15 leaves. Because those are the two things that are going to lead you to be most successful, is entering your expenses and making sure that you're staying within your weekly allowance and staying within your weekly allowance. So when you do those two things, you're going to be okay. And so the app rewards you for doing those. So then you're going to come here. It's going to be the first time you're going to see the Happy Money screen. I got my 85.71. I got one leaf for today. I think you can see it there right in the middle. Just one little leaf on my tree there. And I'm at level 1. The day buttons here show that I'm on Saturday. I just have to make it through today and tomorrow with the 85.71. So any kind of groceries, clothing, anything I need for this week, the rest of this week, I need to fit into that 85.71. As long as I do that, I'm gonna be okay. The next little button over here, so that's the giraffe button on the bottom, and there's a boxes button. So it's got fixed in Disney. Disney is going to have $200. Right now it's 0, but tomorrow, on the 1st, it'll just automatically put $200 in there. The app will do that for you. And then there's the buffer, and I'll show you how to use that. Here's the calendar. So the calendar has everything mapped out for you for the next 2 years. So right now on the 31st, you can see that I'm hoping to figure out what my Etsy income is for the month. And I'm going to deal with the gas and the electric, and I'll show you how to do that. But if you scroll forward, you can see like my mortgage payment is on there. I've got a paycheck, got the minivan, the cell phone, another paycheck. Like all of the stuff is mapped out for you for 2 years. You can scroll forward in there. So that is a really awesome feature of the app. I love that part because it just makes more visual what's going on. So today, I'm going to show you how to do some of these differences in here. So I thought the Etsy shop was going to make 400, and so you click on it, and so there's a planned amount and an actual amount, and you get to enter in the actual amount. So I'm going to say that this family actually had $700 for Etsy this month, which was a good surprise. That's why you want to guess low, because when it's a surprise, it's a good thing, and it just makes budgeting a lot easier. So $300, it says, is going to go into my fixed buffer. So let me click save. You can also change the date up in the top right there. It says 1/31 right now. So you could click on that and change the date that this happens, but I'm just going to say that it happened today. So now it's going to be checked. It says $700 now instead of 400. And if you go back to that fixed box, you're going to see that it went up. So let me click into that fixed box, and it's going to show that the planned amount was 400, actual amount was 700. So there's a $300 difference. It's just going to put it into the box for you. So now I've got $400 to work with in this buffer amount, which is great. Got a bunch of extra there. And let me come back over here and show you how that works with like gas and electric. So like I said, gas and electric are hard, like the utilities, because they do change a ton. So I'm going to go in here, click on the gas one, and say that actually, let's see, it's winter here. So normally my gas bill is high in the winter. So I'm going to say this is $250. So I guessed 150, and it was actually $250. So it's going to take $100 out of my buffer now. I'm just going to get checked, change to 250. If you come over to your buffer, now it's only 300. It says, yep, you put your gas in there, but you guessed wrong. So we're going to take that out of the buffer, which is totally fine. That's what the buffer's for. But on the other side, the electric, because we're using more gas for heat, I'm going to use a whole lot less electricity. And we're going to say that's $25 is what I actually spent this month for electricity. So I'm still under that $300 total, which is nice. So difference of $125 is going to be added to my fixed buffer. So I'm going to save that. And then I've dealt with all the different bills that I thought were going to happen today. And you can see in my fixed box, I've got $425 now, which is probably too much. So when you have extra money like that, you can choose what to do with it. So I am going to switch it. I'm going to move it over to the Disney box because I'm going to save it. So if you click the little plus button on the bottom, you can make an expense. You can do income, like if you get paid or if you get like a birthday present or something, you can just put that in as income and stick it wherever you need to. I'm going to do a transfer. And I'm going to say I'm going to take $200 out of that fixed box, and put that in my Disney money, just so I can save up for that a little faster. So now I've got $200 in there. My fixed box went down. See that I transferred it over. So you can move the money out of your fixed box, put it wherever you need to. You can move it into your Happy Money if you want, which I should probably do because I don't have very much to make it through the end of the month. I'm going to do another transfer real quick. Give myself another $50 because I did really good on the Etsy shop and I want to be able to use that. So, oh, no, I'm going to go from the fixed box to the Happy Money. Do that today. Okay. So then if I click on the little giraffe, there we go. Okay. My internet's a little slow. Now I've got $135 to make it just through the end of this week. And let's say I go to Walmart today, $50. And you can put in notes if you want. You can change the box. Like if I was actually going to Disney, and I was spending stuff, I could spend it out of the Disney box instead of the Happy Money box. But I'm just going to spend it out of the Happy Money box for right now. So this is the main screen you're going to see. This is so like I said, you set the budget once, and then normally you're just going to deal with this day to day. This is all you need to worry about, is making sure you put your expenses in here as they happen and mark your bills and your income on the calendar. So the calendar and this is the main two screens you're ever going to use. So like I said, I just went to Walmart, spent $50, put it in here, and this lets the app know that you're down to $85.71 now. Then I'm going to go to spend another $75 at Costco and enter that in. Great. So now I know that I'm down to $10 left for Sunday. That's not very much. I might transfer a little bit more from my fixed box into this just because I did so well on the Etsy shop. Congratulations. It's going to make it a little bit easier if I've got money for tomorrow. So like I said, day to day, when you're using the app, all you care about is entering in your transactions. You just put them in as they happen. Whether that's at the end of the day or as they happen throughout the day, try to make it as fast as possible to just go in, click the plus button, and the payees will pop up for you again. So if I spent another $10 getting hot dogs or something at Costco, as soon as I type a C, then Costco's going to pop up. So that it just makes it hopefully quick to be able to put things in. The nice part is that you really don't have to go back in and redo your whole budget. Like for the next 2 years, unless anything changes, you could just do this and you're going to be okay. Because your 3 green checks means that the graph means you're never going to go negative. So you're going to be okay. But like I said, for this family, they're living on a really low budget right now just because they need to make it to when they're a little more stable, which is completely normal. That happens a whole lot where the graph shows you that you're going way up, but you don't have enough to do it today. So let me go in and show you what that looks like if they make some changes, like later on when they go back in March. Let me go back in. If you go to the little gear icon on the right, then you can go to edit budget. And this is just letting you know that when you edit your budget, our whole app thinks about today and forward. We really don't care about the past, because whatever happened in the past is going to show up in the bank balance you have right now. So if you are looking for like an accounting app or like something that's going to help you do your taxes or have like a complete understanding of all your history, this is not the right app for that. We simplified this down to just say, how do we help you stay within your allowance? Like how do we help you not spend more than you have? That's all that matters. That's the only reason the budget exists, is so that you don't spend more than you have. So the things that you put in the past are still there. The app doesn't delete them, but you just can't go edit them. So that's the only warning that is showing up here. So every time you come back in to re-edit your budget, you're going to have to type in your available money again. I tried to figure out a way to make this figure out like exactly what your bank balance was going to be on any given day, but it's just not reliable. So every time you come back in, you're going to have to figure out what your bank balance is that day. Type it in. I'm going to keep it with this 2,700 again, just because I want to show you something. So that's what they had before. All of your income, everything you put in is still there. All the expenses, filling up the Disney box. The buffer amount's going to change because that's what I have in my buffer right now. It's 175. You can type in whatever you want and it'll reset that for you. We've got the $300. I just want to show you what the graph looks like when you try to go up and spend as much as you can, which was like 950, I think. Yeah, so 950 gets that over and under pretty much as close as I can to zero. But these others are negative. So I just wanted to show you don't actually do this with your own budget, but I just want to show you what the graph looks like and why this is bad. So if you go into more details here, you're going to see that, our graph doesn't go negative very well. But if you type into February, you're going to see all these subtotals are negative. That's going down to $1,100. You're going to try to pay your mortgage, and you're not going to have the money to pay it, and that's not good. You don't want that. Then you get paid, and things are getting better, but you're trying to spend too much. Your budget can't handle it. You keep going negative over and over again here, which means that you're going to try to pay a bill. Money's just not going to be there. This looks better in the Excel version of this. So if you use the Excel version, I like using that one just to kind of map things out for what my budget should look like. And then I type it all in here later. Just because the graph looks a little better. I need to make a note to edit the graph in this so it looks more like the Excel one. I'm going to edit my budget one more time. I'm going to say that this time they're in, what was it, March? Yeah, they made it to March. March 6th, they got the paycheck. Now they've got $4,100 in their bank account. And they've still got all of these things happening. None of their bills changed. Let's see here. Still got that buffer amount there. And now, looks like they can get a lot closer to 950. Let's see. Let's try 900. Oh, maybe I can get all the way. Let's see. Nope, I can't get all the way to 950, but I bet I can do 940. Nope, $94. Got to get all those zeros in there. Oh, almost. Let's try 930. Close. 920. There we go. Okay. And you're going to have to do the same thing that I just did, because I want you to try out different numbers and see what they're going to do. The goal is just to get all three numbers green on the bottom and get the over and under as close to zero as you can. As long as you're doing that, you're going to be okay. So now they're doing a little bit better. They've taken their time. They spent $300 a week for a little while. Now they can spend $900 a week, which again is probably way too much, because, like I said, this is covering your eating out, clothes, all the different things. They probably don't need this much every week. So in this case, if they had that much, I would say go back, put money into savings, use it for something. But you can make it as high as you want. That's okay. Now, if you go into more details, you can see that the graph is a little more even, just going all the way across. And if you click through, they're never going to go negative. It'll get down a little bit low sometimes, but never is going to go negative. So that's a good thing. So we're going to continue with that. And now you can see in their Happy Money, they've got $262 for just the rest of this week. And then on Monday, they'll get the full allowance. So, like I said, this is a different approach to budgeting than you're probably used to, because the goal is just don't spend more than you have. And we're trying to make it so you don't have to read budget every single month, because that's really annoying and you don't love budgeting that much. We're also trying to limit the time frame down, because monthly is a long time. Like when you do a monthly budget, it's just a long time to figure out. Like groceries, if you put like $500 for a month of groceries, there's no way. Like you're going to spend all that in the first week, and it's just hard to do. So we try to take it down to one number, and it's a weekly amount, so that you get a new allowance every week, and you just try to stick within that number for all the different things. I'm going to do one more example here, just to show you one of the cool things in the app. So I'm going in and redoing the budget lots of times here. You're not going to have to do that. I mean, you'll have to do it at first just so that you can kind of get used to what things are. But after you get used to how everything works, you're going to be fine, and you won't have to come back in here very often at all. Really, the only time you go back in to redo your budget is, like I said, when you know that you've been living on way less than you had, than you could have been spending, just because you're trying to get to where everything works out. Or if like your income changes, or you add a new bill or something like that, that's the only time you need to come in here, redo your budget. Otherwise, just all it is the daily thing and the calendar. That's all you're caring about most of the time. So I'm going to say that they're doing good right now. They got 4,100. I'm going to add in a really big expense for them, home insurance. And I'm going to say their home insurance is like $2,000. And that's going to happen just once a year. And I'm going to scroll forward here. That's going to be sometime in December, because I want to show you how the app makes sure that you have the money you need when you need it. So I've got a bill that I know of. It's coming up in a year. Well, not in a year, but it's coming up end of December. It's a long ways away, feels like to me. But it's a big bill, and I want to make sure I've got enough money to cover that. So if I come forward here, leave everything else the same, as long as these three numbers are green, then I'm going to have that $2,000 on December 1st when I need to pay that bill. So let me lower this a little bit, because it looks like I'm spending too much still. Let me get down to 19. Oh, that's close. Let me go 900 and see if that works. Okay, so I can do $900 now, but all the three numbers are green. And that means that when that home insurance bill comes up all the way in December, the app is already figuring out that that's going to happen, and it's helping you save up for it. So as long as you only spend $900 a week, until then, you're going to have the money when you need it, right on time. So let me show you how that looks. If you go to more details, you can scroll forward here. You can see that the graph's getting a little bit higher, And then in December, I'm going to pay my mortgage. I'm going to pay the Disney, and I'm going to be able to pay my home insurance for $2,000. And at the end of paying out all of my bills on December 1st, I'm going to have $1,700 left. And then a week later, I get my happy money. So I do get down to like $447 left after I paid all my bills um, before I get that next paycheck. So it is a little bit scary when you pay it, but it's all going to work out. The app is forecasting all of this out for you. So it's just one of the nice things that the app does for you, so that you don't have to think as much. It's like I said, the forecasting super helpful, so that you don't have to think about it, because all you want to think about is, are the 3 checks green? Good, then I'm going to be okay. And as long as you got that over under as close to zero as you can get it, then you're spending all the money you can. And after that, all you do is stay within your weekly allowance by putting all of your expenses in this screen, and then all of your bills, just handle them here. And when they're over or under what you thought they were going to be, that difference comes out of the fixed buffer. So as long as you've got some money in there, you can handle all the differences. So like tomorrow, my mortgage is going to come out. I'm just going to put in what actually happens. Usually a mortgage is pretty easy to predict. That doesn't change for a long time. So like I said, fixed buffer is your friend. That's going to handle the differences on all of those big bills. And then everything else that you worry about is just right here in your happy money. So this is going to cover your, like I said, eating out, clothes, groceries, all the things. So that's actually one of the questions we get a lot, is if you should put groceries in there, or if you should make like a separate box just for groceries. So the goal is to make things as simple as possible for you. So start out by putting as much as you can into happy money, like all the different categories that you're thinking of. Use your happy money for all of those things. I found that it helps a lot because it's one number to hit, and you can see it. It's really visual, and you get a new allowance every week. So if you make mistakes, if you spend too much on one thing and you're like, oh, that's hard, you can still stay within your weekly allowance by just not doing something for a day or two, just pushing it back till the start of your next budget. So like sometimes we'll be like, well, yeah, I need gas for my car, but if I push that off till tomorrow, then that's on the next week's allowance, and that way I'm going to be okay. And I know it sounds trivial to push something off one day, just because you're at the end of your week, and you don't have the money for it. And if you just push it off one day, then it doesn't seem like it's going to be a big deal, but it really does help. It helps you learn the right things that you should be doing, not spending more than you have. It really is a big deal to just push something off one day, because then you do have the money for it. It just reinforces that right behavior, that you only spend as much as you have, and not more than that. And you can make small sacrifices to do that, even if it's as dumb as waiting till tomorrow to fill up your gas tank. If you can, then do that. And it really does matter. I got a question here. Is there a limit to the number of custom boxes? Nope. Make as many as you want. Like I said, hopefully limit that as much as possible. Your goal is to make this as simple as you can do it. And having just happy money is the only thing you're worried about, that makes it easy. But I understand that doesn't work for everyone, and it doesn't work for all situations. So yes, you can make as many custom boxes as you want. You can save up for as many things as you want. Actually, one of the custom boxes we have is for our dog, because that dog has to get a haircut every 4 weeks, and we spend more on that dog's haircut than we do on every haircut for the rest of our entire family combined. So that was a really big hit to our weekly allowance when that would happen, and I didn't like it. So I made a separate box just for the dog, and we filled it. I fill it every 4 weeks with, I think it's like $150 just for that haircut. So I put that, when I created my budget, I made that a separate thing. $150 every 4 weeks just goes in there automatically. And then when I set my weekly allowance, it already knows that that's happening. And so my weekly allowance was a little bit smaller because of that. but it was so much easier and it wasn't such a big hit for me. So I totally fine if you want to make more boxes. Try it out with as few boxes as you can. But if you had to add in some more, that's totally fine. That happens. Um, so yes, let me see. There are some other questions too. Oh yeah, custom boxes. They don't show up in your calendar. Nope, they don't. Your calendar is only for your bills and those kinds of things. Your income, your bills. The boxes, it'll show you on the bottom there, like next $200 is going to be on the first. So it'll show you when the next time that it's just going to get money put into it. The app, when it did that forecast, it considered how much you were putting into those boxes and the timing of all of that. It treated it the same as one of those calendar items. But for you, it's easier to have it be a separate thing because you want to spend out of it separately. So like Disney, that isn't just like one bill. When I go to Disney and I actually spend money going to Disney, I'm going to want to be able to spend a lot of things out of that box and know what my total allowance basically is, or what my total budget is to be able to spend at Disney. So it's kind of it's its own little separate thing. The calendar is more helpful for like I said, bills where you know what the amount is going to be. It's a one-time thing, and it's going to be fairly close to what you thought it was going to be. So I know that's confusing to have those separate. The app considered them all in the 2-year forecast as though they were just all going to happen just like that. But it's easier to spend out of them when it's a box. So that's why we made those separate. Another question here is, let's see. Oh, groceries. Like I said, groceries is one, kind of like the dog for me. I try it out in your Happy Money. If it doesn't work, if you guys are having fights because you're running out of money too fast, totally understandable. Just make a separate box for groceries, and then you can spend out of that box instead when you go to the store. The one of the nice things is trying to get you and your spouse on the same page. So I know, and my wife knows that we can see everything the other person is spending. So like right now, I've got $257.14 left for the rest of the week. So if I go to Costco and spend $200, just because I'm being dumb, it's all selfish, then my wife's going to see that. She's going to be like, what are you doing at Costco? It's the end of the week. We still had this other thing, tomorrow that we were planning on spending money on. And now we can't because you just spend all the money at Costco. What did you buy? It helps those conversations come up faster. They're not fun conversations, but they're super important. If there's two of you spending money, what you spend affects the other person, whether you like it or not. So please consider what the other person is going to see. When you do like a monthly budget, it's easy to hide some of those things because the other person might not see that you went to Costco and spent $200 until like the end of the month. And by the end of the month, you guys have made so many different mistakes and spent too much in so many different ways that it's hard to pick out one thing and like blame each other. And you just get in a whole fight, and it's not fun. With this, it's a weekly allowance, and you're able to see everything happen right away. So it's really easy for me and my wife to have a conversation about what I just did at Costco and how that affects tomorrow because I don't have any money left tomorrow or for the rest of today. And now we've got to wait till Monday. And so now we can talk about what did I spend that money on and why did I do that? And like I said, they're not super fun conversations, but they're important to have, and they're important to have right away because it's going to be so much better for you as a couple if you can figure out where you're making mistakes a whole lot faster. So it is scary at first to have both partners be able to see everything that's happening, but it's so much better long term. And now I think much more about how it's going to affect our whole family when I spend money, because I know how much we have left. I know how long we have to get till the end of the week. It's just better context for when I'm making decisions. Oh, so yes, the asked, can you view the 2-year forecast without going back in to edit your budget? I we had You can't right now. So the developers couldn't add that in for the initial launch. In the spreadsheet, you can go back and forth. I like using the spreadsheet just because it is easier to go back and forth and see that graph and all the details and see how everything's being affected. That's a future thing we're going to add, is that you will be able to go back in and see that 2-year forecast. The hard part is that that 2-year forecast is there, but it's hard to see like day by day how you're like matching up to it. And I don't want you to worry about matching up to it, because you don't need to. As long as you're spending less than your weekly allowance every week, and as long as you're going into the calendar and entering your actual income and your actual bills and what they actually were, as long as the fixed buffer is handling all of that for you, then you're doing okay. You don't need to worry. But I do understand it is nice to be able to see what that forecast looks like. And we are going to add that in. But for right now, first version of the app, we couldn't add that. So I'm sorry. We will add that. But just understand the caveat that it isn't super important. It's probably not as important as you're thinking it is. Because like I said, as long as you're spending within your weekly allowance every week, as long as you're using the calendar to do your bills, you're okay. That's really all you have to worry about. The app has done everything else for you, and you're going to be all right as long as you're doing those two things. But I do understand it is nice to be able to see. So that's why I use the spreadsheet right now, because it isn't in the app very well like that. One of the other questions is banking, if you can add banking. We just got banking to work. So if you are a Treetop donor, then you'll see this little banking and transactions up here. You can add your institution. That'll add your different bank accounts. You only want to add the bank accounts where you like spend money from. So like when I pulled mine up, I could see like my mortgage and some of my investment accounts. Like you don't want those because you're not dealing with that in the app. This is just about your budget. So once you add those in, then this transaction screen is going to it'll just pull in the transactions that have actually cleared. So it's a little slow, because when you first make a transaction, like I spend $50 at Walmart on my credit card or something, when you first do that, it shows up as pending, and then it waits for like a day before it turns into like a real transaction. So they don't pull in here until they're a real transaction. But once you see it, all you do is you click on it, and then you either put it in a box or you match it to your calendar. That's the only purpose, is just to help you enter them and make sure you don't miss things. So it is really nice for not missing things. I go get like a soda drink almost every day, and it's only like $1. So it's really easy to forget to put it in the app. So for me, it's helpful that it shows up here in this transaction list. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't put that one in, so I can enter it. I've got a different video I just put it on YouTube yesterday, of just how all of the banking stuff works. I went through a couple different scenarios. So go look at that if you want to see how the banking works. Like I said, it's brand new, and that's the only video I've got yet so far to show how it works. I've got another question. Oh yeah, thanks for all your efforts and work. Thank you. I'm super excited. We figured out this whole budgeting system on our own, because nothing else worked for us. We failed horribly at budgeting for years and years, and we finally found out. We figured out the system that works for us, where we got rid of all the other fluff. Like I'm not trying to do all the investments and everything else. So many of the budgeting apps get so confusing, and it just didn't work for us. So we came up with a system that I think makes it as easy as possible. Because all you're worried about is don't spend more than I make. That's your whole goal. And like I said, as long as you're putting in your weekly transactions, your daily transactions, put that into your weekly allowance, and dealing with the calendar so that you can have your income and your bills in there. As long as you're doing that, you're going to be okay. And that's all you have to worry about. Like, you don't have to love budgeting. You don't have to love spreadsheets, because most people don't. And that's totally okay. You've got other things to do. So this system it helped us a ton. And when we tried to figure out how to show it to other people, we decided to make it a nonprofit, because it was just the easiest way to get it out there. So I'm really excited that I get to share this with other people, and I hope it helps you. I hope it helps make budgeting easier. Hopefully you're less anxious about it after you've seen what it can do, because you can do this. You're so much better than you think you are. You've just had really crappy tools to figure it out until now. So I hope this is a tool that makes it easy for you. I hope it makes it um, so much less stressful. Again, just one of the last questions is that it's not a perfect history of everything. This isn't an accounting app. You're not going to be able to take this to your accountant at the end of the year and be like, hey, do my taxes with this. It really is just a singular focus on don't spend more than you have. That's all we're going for. And we're trying to make that as easy as possible. So I know it's different from other systems. It does take a little bit to get used to, but I think if you use it, you're going to be really surprised at how well you can make decisions, because you're seeing them in real time, and you're seeing whether it's a good choice or a bad choice. It just makes everything about budgeting so much easier. You don't have to go back in every month and redo everything. So I hope this helps a lot. I hope you feel a lot better about budgeting, and I hope you have so much more happiness with your finances. I know they're limited. I know you're not going to have as much money as you want. None of us do. I wish you had more. But yeah, I hope this helps you live within the financial limitations that you have, and be happier as you do it. So thank you so much for joining. If you have any other questions, just email us. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.